Hello everybody, welcome to this brief presentation on EENA's Advisory Board plans for 2014. The objective of this 10-minute or so presentation is to provide you with some background information about how EENA works and how you may become involved in our work during 2014. So let me begin firstly by explaining what EENA is. We are a Brussels-based not-for-profit organisation established in 1999 to promote high-quality emergency services using either directly the European emergency number 112 or indeed using any of the other national emergency numbers for contacting the emergency services. We serve as a discussion platform for the emergency services themselves, public authorities, decision makers, associations, and the solution providers who provide services and products to the emergency services. All of this is done with the view to having the citizens' requirements as a centre point for all of what EENA does. We are also promoting the establishment of an efficient early warning system, public warning system, for alerting citizens about impending emergencies or disasters. EENA membership right now during August 2013 involves 850 emergency services representatives from 44 European countries, 65 solution providers, 9 international associations and organisations, 130 members of the European Parliament, and 40 researchers. So, what does EENA do? Well, our core mission is to be a platform, a discussion platform for individuals and organizations, and we do this using 4 different networks. The first is our advisory board network, which is made up predominantly of companies who provide services and products to the emergency services themselves. Our 112 ESSN, which stands for the Emergency Services Staff Network, and this is the emergency services professionals themselves, the public authorities who look after 112 and emergency service related matters, and regulators and so on. Our third network is members of the European Parliament who are 112 champions or advocates for 112 inside the European Parliament. And lastly, our network of researchers, those researchers who are involved in researching emergency communications and emergency service related topics. EENA also organises events. Our annual conference, which is our flagship event, takes place every year over 3 days and normally attracts 350 or so attendees from the emergency services, from the public authorities, from the regulators, and of course corporate companies themselves. This year it will be held in April 2014, 2nd to the 4th in Warsaw in Poland. And during these 3 days we will discuss regulatory, technical and operational issues. In conjunction with the conference, we will run a 112 award ceremony which will recognise and reward emergency services professionals and indeed citizens who go beyond the call of duty to help people in distress. We also will run for the first time in 2014 in October in Brussels a members workshop which will involve all of our members from the advisory board, from the ESSN, looking at key issues related to the work of the emergency services. In conjunction with this, we will also run an event called Meet Your MEP, which will allow those attendees from the advisory board and the ESSN to meet their national representatives to highlight and discuss specific issues related to the emergency services work. EENA also runs technical and operational committees discussing different matters. From the operations committee perspective, we have 37 different subcommittees who on a thematic basis look at issues related to the emergency services work. items such as caller location, GIS systems, welfare of the emergency call taker, and so on. Also, our next generation 112 committee will look at the future of 112 services, and in particular those services using and which will be IP based. EENA also advocates in relation to future legislation and future requirements for the emergency services, and also we have a keen interest in monitoring future projects that will involve the emergency service community. EENA actually participates in some of those EU funded projects. To highlight some of them are here. For instance, Hero 1 and 2, which is the eCall implementation project across Europe, and also, and more recently, EasyNet, which is a project looking at the interoperability requirements for the emergency services across Europe. We also raise awareness of 112 via our 112 Foundation. So in terms of our structure, as mentioned earlier, our various committees and both the 112 ESSN and our advisory board members collaborate via these different committees, and of course are also joined by our network of researchers or our MEP representatives from the European Parliament. Here is a brief snapshot of some of our companies who are currently in membership. Some of these companies are global suppliers to the emergency services community. Some of them are, of course, European suppliers, and some of them are national suppliers. All of these companies will be made up of EENA membership. For our emergency services members, well, you can see from our map here of Europe, the footprint covers all of Europe, but not just Europe. We have representatives from the Middle East, from the Far East, Indonesia, South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, from Canada, North America, Central America, and also from some countries in South America. In terms of our events, we have one event later in 2013, which is the final Hero 1 conference in Bucharest in Romania. And as mentioned earlier, in 2014, in April in Warsaw, we have our 3-day conference and also our 112 award ceremony, and there are sponsoring and exhibition opportunities available for both of these events. And later in 2014, in October, we will run for the first time our members workshop and our Meet Your MEP event. Both events will be run in Brussels. And finally, in November of next year, there'll be the Hero 2 final conference. The venue and precise date has yet to be confirmed. We have many services available to our corporate members, but just to highlight a few of them right now. Firstly, corporate members are kept up to date with the different reform programs and upgrades that are happening across Europe. They manifest themselves via RFPs and tenders. EENA will keep those corporate members up to date on the larger of those tenders. We don't get, unfortunately, access to all of the smaller tenders, but certainly the larger ones are made known via conference call or email from EENA. We also will publish for our members only a yearly publication which is on a country by country basis on the emergency services structures and reform programs for each European country, and of course this is also supported with the regular updates. For our events, EENA members get free access to those events, and for corporate members there's an unlimited number of company representatives who can attend. Attendance in these events, of course, will provide you with the opportunity to network with those emergency services companies and also provide you with an opportunity to showcase your solution to the different emergency services and public authorities who attend the events and who attend the conference calls. We also provide the opportunity for you to get involved in influencing some of the standardization work inside ETSI, MTEL, SEN and so on. And also we allow and provide information about funding opportunities which would be known to EENA via the European Commission's funding programs on issues related to the emergency services. In terms of our membership, we have three different categories of membership. Firstly, the NGO category is free access to those associations or organizations. For corporate members, these are the companies who are directly involved in supplying services to the emergency services and to control rooms, etc. For large companies, more than 20 employees, the cost annually is €10,000. For small companies, it's €5,000, and for small consultancies, the cost annually is €2,000. The third membership category is for corporate observers, and these companies would those who would not be directly involved in the emergency services themselves, but perhaps would rather be affected by the EU legislation on 112, etc. For NGOs in this category, it is free. For large companies, it is €6,000, and for small companies, it is €3,000. This brings the presentation to an end. I hope you found the presentation of value. I hope it also served to provide you with some background information about EENA. For any follow-up inquiries, of course, please don't hesitate to contact either Gary Machado, who is the Executive Director of EENA at gm@eena.org, or Tony O'Brien, the Deputy Executive Director at tob@eena.org. Thank you for your attention.